Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about something far deeper than the mirror can reflect, something no cosmetic can enhance, and no worldly fashion can replace. I want to speak to you about a beautiful woman. True beauty begins where the eyes of the world often fail to look, deep within. While society may fixate on appearances, on facial symmetry, on trends and standards that shift with every passing season, the kind of beauty that holds real weight and meaning is found in the soul of a woman. It's not in the contour of her cheekbones, the color of her eyes, or the elegance of her walk. It is in the way she thinks, the depth of her compassion, the purity of her intentions, and the quiet strength she carries within her spirit. A woman can be adorned in the finest fashion, with the most flawless complexion, yet still feel empty, still wonder if she is enough, because the world has sold her a shallow version of beauty. But when a woman discovers who she is beyond the mirror, when she begins to see herself through the lens of truth, through the eyes of purpose, her light begins to shine in a way no camera can capture. She doesn't just walk into a room, she brings warmth into it. She doesn't just speak, she breathes life with her words. She doesn't chase validation, she walks in the quiet confidence of someone who knows her worth is not up for negotiation. That kind of beauty does not fade with time. In fact, it deepens. A woman who has walked through fire and still speaks with gentleness, who has been overlooked and yet continues to serve with love, who has been broken and yet still believes in hope. That is a beautiful woman. Her face may age, her body may change, but her beauty remains untouchable because it was never built on what could be seen in the first place. It was built on grace, on depth, on soul. When she forgives instead of holding a grudge, when she encourages instead of competing, when she shows up for others even when no one sees her doing it, she embodies a beauty that cannot be erased. And that beauty is not just seen, it is felt. People may not always be able to describe it, but they know they've been in the presence of something rare and sacred. A beautiful woman doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. She doesn't have to be loud to be heard or flashy to be noticed. She just has to be who she is, fully, freely, and unapologetically, because who she is on the inside is already more than enough. That is where true beauty lives. And from that place, it changes everything around her. Humility is not weakness. It is quiet power. It is the inner strength of a woman who knows exactly who she is, yet doesn't need to announce it. She doesn't carry herself with arrogance or with a hunger for applause. She doesn't need to compete, compare, or convince. There is a stillness in her spirit, a calm assurance that speaks louder than any boastful words ever could. She understands that true value doesn't come from being above others, but from serving with love, from walking gently even when she has every right to raise her voice. A beautiful woman clothed in humility has no desire to be the center of attention. She doesn't push her way to the front. Instead, she makes room for others. She celebrates without envy, listens without judgment, and gives without expecting something in return. Her presence is not intimidating, but inviting. People are drawn to her not because she demands their attention, but because her character commands respect. Her strength is revealed in her willingness to stoop down and lift others up, even when no one sees her doing it. She does not rely on title, status, or applause to feel significant. Her significance is rooted in something much deeper, an awareness that her worth was never up for debate. She knows that the same God who created the stars handcrafted her soul with purpose. That knowledge humbles her. It makes her grateful. It causes her to treat others with dignity, even those who may not treat her the same. Her humility is not born from insecurity, but from spiritual maturity. She has no desire to make herself look big by making others look small. Instead, she becomes a safe place for people to be real, to be vulnerable, to be human. And when life tests her, when her name is misunderstood, when her efforts are overlooked, she does not crumble under the weight of injustice. She doesn't rise up in pride or fight for recognition. She simply keeps walking with grace, knowing that her reward is not in the hands of people, but in the hands of something higher. Her humility gives her the ability to endure without bitterness, to give without burnout, to love without conditions. A humble woman is not easily shaken. She doesn't react out of ego or make decisions to protect her image. Instead, she pauses. She reflects. She acts from a place of peace and wisdom. And that is what makes her so incredibly beautiful. In a world loud with self-promotion and self-interest, she is a quiet revolution. She is the reminder that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it kneels. Sometimes it serves. Sometimes it simply shows up with a smile, with a word of comfort, with hands willing to help, and a heart willing to understand. Her humility becomes her crown, not visible to the world, but undeniable to those who truly see her. She is not chasing power, because she already walks in it. And she doesn't have to raise her voice to be heard, because her life speaks loud enough. Adversity does not destroy a truly beautiful woman. It reveals her. When storms come, when life shakes the foundation beneath her feet, she doesn't collapse in despair, though the pain is real. Instead, she draws from a deeper well. She doesn't deny the hardship, doesn't pretend the struggle isn't there, but she refuses to be defined by it. Through the tears, through the silence, through the seasons of waiting and breaking and rebuilding, her inner beauty begins to shine even brighter. It is in those dark, crushing moments that her strength is tested, and it is there that she becomes radiant with a beauty no easy life could ever produce. There is something powerful about a woman who has walked through fire and come out on the other side not bitter, but better. Not hardened, but softened. Not angry, but anchored. Her trials have not made her perfect, they've made her real. And there's a beauty in her authenticity, a glow that comes not from untouched perfection, but from surviving storms with grace. She has scars, yes, but she wears them not with shame, but as proof of her survival, as reminders of battles fought and won in silence. This kind of woman doesn't panic in crisis because she has learned how to stand still and trust. She knows that tears are not weakness, they are the cleansing of the soul. She knows that loss does not mean she has lost her value. She knows that rejection doesn't rewrite her identity. When life takes from her, she does not fold into despair. She bends, but she does not break. She weeps, but she does not drown. She may be shaken, but her foundation is firm because it was never built on fleeting things. In adversity, her words become more tender, not sharp. Her actions become more intentional, not reactive. She learns to listen with greater compassion because she's known what it's like to feel unheard. She shows up for others in their pain because she remembers what it felt like to be alone in hers. Her beauty is not polished. It is weathered and worn in the best way. It is strong because it has had to be, and it is gentle because it chooses to be. When the world watches her go through hardship, they may expect her to lose her light. But instead she glows more, not because life is easy, but because she has learned how to carry joy even in sorrow, how to keep believing when everything around her says to give up. There is a sacredness to the way she suffers, quiet, raw, enduring, and that endurance becomes her crown. It's not seen on magazine covers or red carpets. It's seen in hospital rooms, in empty bank accounts, in lonely nights, in whispered prayers when no one is watching. She doesn't crumble when people disappoint her. She doesn't lose herself when life doesn't go according to plan. Her beauty lies in her ability to walk through valleys with dignity, to hold on, to hope even when it flickers like a dying flame. She may not have all the answers, but she holds on to the one thing she knows: she is not alone. And that belief becomes her anchor, her posture, her quiet song in the chaos. A beautiful woman in adversity doesn't shine in spite of the struggle. She shines through it. Her light is made brighter by the very shadows that tried to cover it. She stands not because she hasn't been knocked down, but because she's chosen to rise again and again. That is the beauty adversity reveals: a heart that keeps beating, a soul that keeps loving, and a woman who refuses to be defined by anything less than grace. Kindness is not just an act, it is a presence. A beautiful woman doesn't perform kindness for the sake of image or approval. It flows naturally from who she is. It's written in the way she speaks, in how she listens, in the tenderness of her touch, and the sincerity of her gaze. Her kindness is not loud or theatrical. It is quiet, consistent, and deeply felt. It's in the small gestures, the way she remembers someone's pain, the way she checks in, the way she makes space for others to be seen, heard, and valued. Her beauty is not just seen, it is experienced. People may forget what she wore or how her hair was styled, but they will never forget how she made them feel. She walks into a room and people feel lighter, not because she's trying to impress, but because her presence carries peace. She is not fueled by self-interest, but by compassion. Her heart is tuned to the needs of others, even in moments when her own needs are unmet. She does not wait to be treated well before she treats others with grace. She gives because that is her nature. She understands that kindness is not weakness. It's a quiet rebellion in a world that often encourages coldness, competition, and self-preservation. She speaks words that build, not break. She doesn't use her voice to elevate herself above others, but to lift those who have been silenced. She sees value in every soul, whether the world sees it or not. She smiles at strangers. She forgives when it's not deserved. She chooses empathy when judgment would be easier. And in doing so, she creates a ripple effect. Those who encounter her leave better, even if they can't explain why. Her kindness is not based on convenience. She is kind even when it costs her, when it means holding her tongue, when it means extending patience, when it means giving time she doesn't have or offering help that will never be repaid. She is not selective with her kindness. She offers it freely, not because people earn it, but because she lives from a deeper well of understanding. She knows that behind every cold glance is a hurting heart, and behind every harsh word is a wound yet to be healed. This kind of woman carries a quiet nobility. She doesn't need a spotlight to shine. Her kindness makes her radiant. She doesn't need a platform to make an impact. Her everyday choices ripple farther than she knows. She understands that kindness is not just something we do, it's something we are. And she has chosen to be a light in dark places, a balm in a hurting world. Even when life is hard, she chooses not to harden her heart. Even when she has every reason to turn bitter, she chooses to be better. And that choice, to remain tender in a world that tries to make people tough, is what sets her apart. It is what makes her unforgettable. It is what makes her truly, undeniably beautiful. Love is not just something she gives, it is something she is. A beautiful woman reflects the light of love in every part of her life. Not a love that is shallow, performative, or limited by convenience, but a deep, selfless, enduring love that has learned how to stretch beyond comfort and expectation. Her love is not controlled by emotions or conditions. It is grounded in a choice, a conviction, a quiet strength that comes from within. She doesn't love to receive something in return. She loves because it is her nature to give. She reflects love in how she listens, not just with her ears, but with her heart. When someone is speaking, she doesn't interrupt or rush them along. She leans in. She hears the unspoken words. She feels what others feel. She becomes a safe place for burdens to be shared, not judged. In her presence, people find rest. Not because she fixes everything, but because she loves without pressure. She does not seek to impress, but to understand. She does not try to outshine others. She reflects a light that brings others into focus. Whether she's a daughter, a sister, a mother, a friend, or all of these, she holds her relationships with care. She doesn't take people for granted. She shows up, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. When others are broken, she becomes a healer. When others are weary, she becomes a gentle encouragement. Her love is expressed in quiet acts of service, in words that restore, and in the time she gives even when her schedule is full. It's in the way she remembers your favorite things, the way she prays for you in secret, the way she stays up just to be a listening ear when everyone else has gone to sleep. She doesn't just reflect love when it's returned, she reflects it even when it's rejected. She has learned that true love sometimes means forgiving without an apology, staying kind when others are cruel, and continuing to believe in people even when they disappoint her. Her love is not naive, but strong. It has been tested. It has been stretched. It has endured heartbreak and betrayal, but it has never lost its softness. That is what makes it so powerful. She reflects the love that heals, the love that uplifts, the love that reminds others of their value, not because of what they do, but because of who they are. She doesn't love for show, she loves from the soul. And her love is not confined to the people she knows. She carries compassion for the stranger, for the overlooked, for the brokenhearted. Her love is wide, generous, and pure. It is light in dark places. It is warmth on cold days. It is a gentle voice in a harsh world. Her beauty is magnified by her love. Because love is the most radiant light there is, she doesn't need to shout it from rooftops. You can feel it in the way she carries herself, in the way she treats others, in the way she brings calm to chaos and hope to despair. Her love doesn't draw attention to herself. It points to something greater, something eternal, something holy. And in that reflection of love, she becomes unforgettable, not because of what she has, but because of how she makes others feel, seen, heard, cherished. Love. That is the kind of beauty that never fades. A beautiful woman does not live only for herself. Her life is a vessel of purpose that reaches beyond her own desires and dreams. She knows she was not placed on this earth just to survive, to collect possessions, or to chase fleeting applause. She moves with intention, driven by something greater than her own comfort. Her beauty is rooted in a life lived with meaning, a life that leaves an imprint on others, not by accident, but by design. She wakes each day not asking, "What can I get?" but "What can I give?" Whether in small acts of kindness or in quiet sacrifices that no one else sees, she lives in service of something more. Her energy, her time, her gifts, they are not hoarded, they are offered. She pours herself into others, into her family, her work, her calling. She mentors, she builds, she nurtures. And she does it not for praise, but because she knows she was made to make a difference. Even when the world seems indifferent, she stays faithful to what she was born to do. Her dreams are not selfish. They are rooted in legacy. She plants seeds that she may never see bloom. She speaks life into others, even when no one speaks it back to her. Her purpose is not tied to applause or recognition. It's tied to obedience, to calling, to that deep knowing inside her soul that she was created with intention. She carries vision. And because of that, she walks differently. She makes choices that align with where she's going, not just where she is. This kind of woman doesn't waste time chasing everything that sparkles. She's not distracted by comparison or the noise of popularity. She's focused, centered, anchored. Her life may look quiet from the outside, but there is a fire within her that fuels her every move. She's not trying to be everything to everyone. She's trying to be faithful to what she's been given. That is where her fulfillment comes from. That is where her beauty is sharpened. She may not be in the spotlight, but she builds things that last. A peaceful home, a faithful friendship, a creative project, a movement of kindness. Her fingerprints are on things that matter. She leaves every place better than she found it. She inspires not by shouting, but by living in a way that others want to follow. Her purpose pulls her forward, even when the path is hard, even when no one claps, even when it costs her comfort or convenience. And through it all, she glows with a different kind of beauty. A beauty that comes from fulfillment, from knowing she's right where she needs to be, doing exactly what she's meant to do. Her life isn't just about making a name, it's about making a difference. She doesn't just exist, she's impacts. Not with grand gestures, but with steady faithfulness, with love that lingers, with truth that touches, with courage that quietly leads. Her purpose is her compass. It gives her strength in seasons of doubt, and it gives her joy in the mundane. And because she lives with that sense of calling, she becomes magnetic, not because of what she says, but because of the undeniable beauty of a woman who knows why she's here. A truly beautiful woman is not shaped by trends, approval, or shifting opinions. She is anchored in faith. Her faith is not a performance, not a set of words recited out of habit. It is the very core of her being, the lens through which she sees the world, and the foundation upon which she builds her life. She may not always have all the answers, but she walks with the one who does. Her trust is not in herself alone, nor in what she can control, but in the one who sees all, knows all, and holds all things together. Her faith gives her a quiet courage. She does not fear the future because she knows who goes before her. She does not crumble under pressure because she has learned where to take her burdens. She doesn't have to pretend to be strong all the time. She leans on a strength greater than her own. Her prayers are not always loud or eloquent, but they are real and they are powerful. She brings her worries to the feet of her Creator, not just when things fall apart, but every single day. And in doing so, she is filled with a peace that doesn't make sense to the world, a peace that holds her steady when the winds of life try to push her down. Her faith is not separate from her daily life. It is woven into every part of her being. It's in the way she treats others, in the way she forgives, in the way she continues to hope even after disappointment. It is in her resilience, in her gentleness, in her refusal to let bitterness take root. When others see chaos, she looks for purpose. When others walk away, she stands firm. Her faith gives her clarity in confusion and assurance when the path is unclear. She does not walk blindly. She walks by trust, and her trust is not misplaced. She doesn't wear her faith as a badge to boast. It's her lifeline. It is what keeps her grounded when life feels unstable. It is what reminds her of her worth when the world tries to reduce her to her appearance. It is what lifts her eyes when shame tries to cast them down. And because her identity is rooted in something eternal, she cannot be shaken by the temporary. Her beauty is not just outward. It radiates from a soul that knows it is loved, chosen, and held by something far greater than anything this world can offer. She draws strength from sacred truths, not fleeting affirmations. When she feels weak, she remembers where her help comes from. When she is tempted to give up, she leans into the promises that have carried her this far. Her faith doesn't make her perfect. It makes her real. It makes her kind in a cruel world, calm in a stormy one, and unwavering in a world full of compromise. Her beauty is not rooted in her circumstances. It is rooted in the one who created her, who walks with her, who calls her his own. Because of her faith, she carries a different kind of light. It's not loud, but it's unmistakable. She doesn't have to prove herself because she already knows she is seen. She doesn't have to chase love because she already knows she is deeply loved. And that assurance becomes her glow. That becomes her quiet power. That becomes the unshakable beauty of a woman whose heart belongs not to the world, but to something far more eternal. So when we speak of a beautiful woman, we are not merely speaking of what eyes can see. We are speaking of what hearts can feel. Her beauty is not found in the surface, but in the substance. It is her humility, her endurance, her kindness, her love, her purpose, and her faith that make her radiant. In a world that often celebrates the shallow, she is a quiet, powerful reminder of what truly matters. She is not shaped by the fleeting opinions of others, but by timeless truths. She walks with grace, speaks with wisdom, and loves with depth. Her life is not perfect, but it is purposeful. And that purpose, anchored in something far greater than herself, becomes the source of her glow. So may every woman listening today remember this. Your beauty is not in what the world tries to define, it is in who you are becoming. Stay rooted, stay gentle, stay strong, because a truly beautiful woman doesn't just change the atmosphere around her, she changes lives. And the world is brighter because of her.